There was a sequence in the film, so-called the French Plantation sequence, and it involved the PBR coming ashore to this spot that was a rubber plantation, still run by these French-speaking people, and they had a whole bunch of cadre, and they'd been fighting the Viet Minh before the Viet Cong, and they weren't letting go.
Hey, this is French Plantation discussion.
French Plantation, the whole scene is going to be made of wisps of fog close to the ground and like a place that's like a dream. If you need more fog machines, have more than enough machines. I don't know, how much do they cost? All right, can I buy the ones I already bought? Sure. Okay, I'll give them to you as a gift after the show, but have enough of them. And I want some real machine guns. Get the PC to go over and strafe the side of that house as though Fidel Castro had his last stand there. So I'd like 3 or 4 French people, and I'll spend money for it, but I don't want to fly them from France. If you can't get them from Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan, Okinawa, then I will fly them from France. White wine should be served ice cold. Red wine should be served at about 58 degrees. Should be opened approximately an hour to an hour and a half to even 2 hours before serve. I want a French ceremony that is right out of a fucking... I want the French to say, my God, how did they do that?
Well, my idea was as they progressed up the river, they were like going back more and more in time in a funny kind of way, that we were revisiting the history of Vietnam in reverse. And the first stop was in the 50s almost. We now are with the French. That was what I was looking for in the French plantation, that it was a kind of ghostly after view of something, almost like they talk about the light from the stars. We see it after the stars are already dead, you know, and it was that kind of mood.
It was like having dinner with a family of ghosts. There were still a few hundred of them left on plantations all over Vietnam, trying to keep themselves convinced that it was still 1950. They weren't French anymore, and they'd never be Vietnamese. They were floating loose in history without a country. They were hanging on by their fingernails, but so were we. We just had more fingernails in it.
How long can you possibly stay here?
Stay?
No, I mean, when do you go back home to France?
Home? I mean, this is our home, Captain.
Sooner or later, you're gonna get...
No, Captain! Cassé! I mean, you don't know anything about the French mentality.
It was just the idea of the French still being there. There was some speech that he gives at the end. He said, you know, if they drive us from the house, we will live in a ditch. You know, if they push us out of the ditch, we'll live in the jungle. You know, all the time we will clean the blood from our bayonets. I like that.
So when you ask me why we want to stay here, Captain, we want to stay here because it's ours, it belongs to us. It keeps our family together. I mean, we fight for that. While you are American, you are fighting for the biggest nothing in history.
Our budgets were cut way down, and we didn't get the cast that we wanted. But of course, the art department and the other departments didn't cut theirs down, so I was very incensed that I had this extraordinary set, costly set, extraordinary decorations and stuff, and so I like was angry at the French sequence. I cut it out of that.
I was very unhappy on every count. The light, the whole thing. So everyone forget that we even shot it. It no longer does exist.